Hello, Mr. Baratic here to give you some basic instruction on the recorder. This instruction is intended for grades 1 and 2. However, it would probably be valuable to anybody who's starting brand new on this instrument, this Soprano recorder. Versions of this recorder go back to the year 800 AD. There are examples of it found in ancient Japan, where it was once made out of eucalyptus trees to repel water. The instrument in itself is a highly capable chromatic instrument that is capable of playing, in this example, from middle C all the way up to a G, which is about an octave and a half higher than that. So it can play chromatically, meaning all the black and all the white notes on the piano in a scale, and all the notes in between. For example, C all the way up to that G. Okay, so just some basics about the instrument. First of all, it always needs to be played with your left hand on top. See the letter L, first graders and second graders. Left hand on top, really important. If you don't play it this way, eventually if you want to learn another woodwind like the flute, for example, and you put your right hand on top when you're playing recorder, you're going to look like this trying to play the flute. It doesn't work. So if you get in the habit of playing with your left hand on top now, you'll be well positioned to play a flute, clarinet, a saxophone, an oboe, bassoon, any woodwind with your left hand on top. The fingerings, in theory, are basically very similar. So if you learn how to play the soprano fingerings, soprano recorder fingerings, you can transfer a lot of that knowledge to those other instruments. Okay, so left hand on top, right hand on the bottom. Finger number 1 is always played by hole number 1. 2, always with 2. 3, always with hole number 3. On the back, we have a thumb hole, and we play that for many of the basic notes. Sometimes we don't play it at all, and there are other times where we just kind of play maybe 2/3 of the hole, and we allow some of the air to escape so we can bump up to the overtone series and play higher notes. So when you blow, you want to always think about fogging a mirror. And if you hear your breath, when you're releasing your breath, you're blowing too hard. So for beginners, that's how you can, at least at the very beginning, produce a very rich, beautiful tone. If you blow hard into the instrument, it sounds shrill and, frankly, quite ugly. We don't want that. So nice and soft. The other reminder that I like to give is that we want to play with flat fingers. You can hopefully see my fingers are flat. We don't want to play with curved fingers because then it'll leak. And if it leaks, it squeaks. So bring our wrists together, and that way we'll get the pads of our fingers, not the tips, but the actual pads, to cover the holes, and we'll get a nice, beautiful tone. Okay, so the first note I want you to try playing is the mighty B. Okay, so to play that note, we need to take our first finger on our left hand and place it over the first hole on the very top of the instrument. You also need to cover the thumb hole on the back. So you're doing this. Now, you'll notice that you can play the note with just one hand, okay, but we don't want to do that. We want to take our right hand thumb and place it under the fourth hole. So you'll have to count 1, 2, 3, and I think it's about there. 4, and put that underneath for support. This will help you play in tune because the instrument will be nice and sturdy and your embouchure won't be wobbly. So the note B is played like this. Okay, that's the first note I want you to try. So you can pause the video and give that a shot. I'll come back to it a little bit later. The next note I'd like you to try is the note A. Hopefully you can see I've covered up both hole number 1 and hole number 2 together at the same time. Okay, then we have flat fingers. We put our right hand thumb underneath the fourth hole, and we blow softly like we're, again, trying to fog a mirror, not trying to knock the wall down. Okay, so it should sound like this. This is the note A. Again, it sounds like this. Okay, so you're welcome to pause the video at this point and practice your A's. Just a couple reminders. Always keep your flat fingers, always, so it doesn't squeak. And again, blow nice and soft. Left hand on top, right hand thumb underneath the fourth hole. The next note that you need is the note G, and it is played by covering hole number 1, hole number 2, and hole number 3, again with flat fingers. The right hand is still doing nothing except for supporting the instrument for balance underneath hole number 4 with your thumb. G sounds like this. Okay, so I'd like you to practice those 3 notes for this week, and that will eventually lead to us being able to play the song Hot Cross Buns, which you might know sounds something like this. Okay, so practice those notes, and we will see you during the next lesson.